Real quick before we get started, I want to give a big disclaimer. If you've seen my most recent video, link in the description, you'd probably be wondering, hey, where's the next OC animatic? Well, I did some research and I found that consistency makes a YouTube channel grow, so if you want to see my stories, those will be coming to my Pinterest, also a link in the description, in the future. And before we really get started, the art in the background is for my community posts and Pinterest. I post a drawing every Thursday on my Pinterest and every Friday on my community posts. Thank you for listening to my yapping and not clicking off this video if you made it this far. Hello, my dear viewers. If you have been around since the very beginning, you probably recognize this video. Well, for some reason, it has over 200 views and is somehow one of the most popular videos on my channel, despite the terrible quality and honestly trash thumbnail with a painfully obvious typo in it. So I figured I might as well redo it and do the story justice. Also, please don't go watch the video, it's terrible. Anyways, let's go all the way back to the beginning. Another quick disclaimer, no names or mentions of schools will be used in this video. I do not need people coming after me. In 5th grade, I had an awesome math teacher. Now, in the past, I never liked math, and I still don't. And I've only met a few people in real life who do, and for some really stupid reason, they are extremely good at it, that is really unfair. Numbers have been my worst enemy in more ways than one, but that's beside the point. This math teacher was one of the sweetest people I've met. She was young, so of course she connected with her class really well. One time, I was having a bit of a bad day, and she came to check on me. My class wasn't the best behaved, but she never really raised her voice to us, and if she did, it was rare, because I can't recall any moments when she did. As time went on, we one day got the news that 3rd grade needed a math teacher. I can't remember the reason why they needed one and what happened to their old one, but that's not really the point. So, in the transition between leaving school for Thanksgiving break, things happened and 3rd grade stole 5th grade's math teacher. So, we were kinda left expecting the unexpected. I also forgot to mention that this math teacher was also our homeroom teacher, so yeah, we were kinda lost. For the first few weeks, we had one substitute after another. We had subs I had been with in the past years throughout my time in elementary school. One of my favorites was this gentle and kind old man who would bring candies for the class. Whenever you walked into class in the morning or for your next class and saw him in a desk seat, you knew it was going to be a good period. Sometimes we would have this pair of substitutes, which I believe were siblings from what I can remember. They may have been a couple or cousins, but I don't really remember. They were a young duo, and were very fun to be around. They would joke around with us, and even though it would get extremely loud in the classroom when they were subbing, and that would overwhelm my nervous little rear, they were really awesome people. I think we had more subs during that time, but I can't quite remember since it was a good while ago, and inevitably they blended together after a while. Although, there was this one that spawned that first video. She was a substitute who was notorious for being loud, rude, and borderline overly strict. She was essentially the never in my 30 years of teaching teacher. As a matter of fact, she said something similar to that once. This teacher was really frustrating to me. Because my class and my grade in general had a terrible reputation for being the bad kids, my class especially, I somewhat understand why she was so strict, but she seemed to have a bad habit of playing favorites. She never picked on me since I was a good kid, but I would watch her pick on this one kid in class who honestly had some really bad habits, and I think were made worse when she, or anyone, would just make him mad. He was a bully, and I hope he's doing well now. She would also be super aggressive for seemingly no reason, oftentimes lecturing us because she had a bad day. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but it felt like it, okay? And who knows, that might have been true. I don't know. Anyways, we had her in and out, but after a while, to my dismay, we were stuck with her. Because of course we were. This is when my dislike for math turned into hate for a while. We were tasked with doing math lessons in her class on the computer, and those math lessons were stupidly hard for no reason. The website we were using would make us redo the entire lesson if we failed the test at the end of said lesson. plus extra animation skits that were honestly really dry and lasted a minute and a half. We could not skip those. Not to mention, the air in the room was really uncomfortable and intense in the class. No one talked, no one looked up from what they were doing, work or not. And the sub was just sitting at the desk in the back, either looking at something or glaring at the class with a stare that seemed like it burned into every tween within a 5-mile radius. Like, lady, if you didn't like tweens that much, why did you accept being a sub for us? Clearly you like the little kids better than us, so why? I'm getting off topic. Math class became the longest period of the day. Not to mention, it was right at the end of the day, so not only was it actually the longest period, it was after lunch, and we were all exhausted from the day and wanted to go home. So as time went on, I stopped doing my math work in her class, and resorted to watching YouTube the entire time while learning to draw in MS Paint. This was the first time I actually really started writing too, so despite everything, this channel would not be here without her, and I would not be the artist I am today. Anyways, we eventually got our real new math teacher towards the end of April, and the rest of the year was a whole lot easier. I continued to draw, and here I am now. Also, while we had her, I did do my math work, just not in her class. The main reason I didn't do it during her class was because it was so incredibly tense. Not only was it hard to focus, but it somehow made it so much more boring. So yeah, this is actually one of my first times actually doing a real story time, and of course it's a school one. I may do more in the future as stories come up, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. As I stated earlier in the video, if you like my art, you can check out my Pinterest and community tabs, where I post a drawing every Friday on my community tabs and every Thursday on my Pinterest. Thank you all so much for watching if you made it this far into the video. A lot of the people who watch my videos only make it into like a minute, and it means the world to me if you watch the whole video. If you did make it to the end, I love you. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out so much, especially since the last video I uploaded, YouTube hid it for a few days for some reason, causing it to flop for a while. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I love you guys. Bye-bye. Math class became the longest period of the day. Not to mention, it was right at the end of the day.